welcome to today's live webinar. I'm Danny from eCreators by OpenLMS, and today we're going to be exploring with Motrain how to optimize your customer education program using personalized rewards, and also delve into how to market, attract, and motivate your learners. So before we get started, I'm going to go through a few house rules. We're on YouTube Live today. If you'd like to leave a comment, you can do it in the chat on the right hand side. Feel free to ask any of your questions. We have the team looking after the chat, and at the end we'll go through and try to answer any of your questions that you've left us in the chat. So stay on after the webinar, stay on a little bit longer after the webinar so that we can answer all of those questions. I'd like to introduce today Jeff Campbell, the founder and director of Motrain. It's great to have you, Jeff, here with us today. It's a real rarity and his time's extremely valuable, so we're very lucky to have him present. So nice to have you here, Jeff, and I'll hand over to you.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Danny, for the warm welcome. And I have to say, I am thrilled to be here today because this is our first webinar dedicated to the customer education space that I've ran with eCreators. We've been working for a while now with one of the projects on it. So it's really great to be able to share a bit more about it. And by the way, I'm calling in from Vancouver today. So I know it's you guys are a day ahead. So I'm just really happy too that the time zones worked out in our favor here. So to give you a bit of context on where I've come from, I taught for 18 years in a blended high school environment where I got really interested in using Moodle in a blended manner, and I got pulled into this really, I guess you'd say, a need for finding a way to improve online learner engagement and motivation. So we started off with a platform and a product that was designed to do that in schools, which then quickly led us into the corporate space. And really in the last year, we've spent, I think the last year and a half, we've really spent a lot of our time with customer education projects, and kind of looking back, they've been really some of our most successful ones. So I'm finding now it's really the channel in the learning space that I get really the most excited about because there's just such an interest. It's a burgeoning trend, and I think there's a lot of companies that are starting to look at it in a strategic and a competitive advantage kind of limelight. So yeah, I'm really thrilled to be here. And today I'd really like to talk a little bit about why you should be looking at having a customer education program if you're not already doing so. And then introduce the concept of motivational design and how it will drive your customer education program and therefore the success of your platform or your whole program, I should say. And then the last part is to infuse a marketing approach and bring your marketing teams into your programs. And I think that's where you really start to gain some amazing results, because you've got this collaboration and this effusion of multiple strategies that work in your favor. So I want to talk a little bit about those things, and then we'll jump in to show you what it looks like what our platform looks like on the OpenLMS work site that we have it on, which it looks amazing. And then I'll talk about a few case studies that we're working on to hopefully connect with some people that might be in some different industries. And then we'll wrap it up with a few questions at the end. So, or hopefully lots of questions. So I know this is scheduled for 45 minutes, but I just want to say I'm happy to spend an hour here for sure, or more if people have lots that they'd like to know more about. So anyways, let's get into it here. So the first bit I want to talk about is what is customer education? And I mentioned it's a burgeoning trend. Really, it has roots in the software space. A lot of software companies are still using it today in terms of getting people onboarded onto their new software program, getting them to learn as much as they can about it so that they find value quickly and effectively to see how it can improve their day on the job. And you're going to hear, if you dive into it, you're going to hear a number of different terms that customer education is described by. So extended enterprise learning is one. You're going to hear external training or external audiences. You can hear partner training. So there's a few different flavors of it, but I like the term customer education because I think it kind of captures all of that. But the key part is to recognize who those people are. And they are people that are really critical to the success of your company or your organization, because they have a direct say in the purchase. They either directly purchase your products or services, or they have a direct say in recommending them to a consumer, for example, or somebody else down the line. So the key part of identifying your audience, your customer audience, that is that we typically look at them in the B2B fashion, where they're not employees. Those are really the key parts of it. And so if you look at your organization, these are some of the people that might fall under that umbrella for you. So we work with a number of organizations who kind of tap into or are addressing the customer education program to these people that are either contractors, wholesalers, distributors, franchisees. You've got associations, you have affiliate channel partners. There's probably some other names or groups that you might be working with, but think about them in terms of who are the people that I like to think of them as the advocates or the ambassadors of your company or organization, and how would they benefit from learning more about what you do to help them do what they do even better. And there is a massive business case behind why I think customer education should be offered from any organization, but it's seeded by the fact that if you go down that route, you have to realize that there is a big challenge. And ultimately, all of today's talk is kind of around this challenge. And that is that this education or training that you're offering is not mandatory. There's no consequence for these people to not do any of your training or to not engage with your content. And so I really like that from the educator standpoint, is that we need to make sure that our content and the courses that we're offering obviously are engaging and add value, but we also need to find ways to attract people to our programs and keep them coming back for more, and kind of making it a habit in terms of their learning approach and how they connect with your organization. So if you look into the reasons behind why you'd want to offer customer education, and you're accepting that, okay, this is maybe a good idea to do here. Really, I think the benefits come out when you start to measure the effects of when you do offer education to your education opportunities to your customers. So what you will find is that your customers will use your product more. If they're educated, they'll use more functions or more features of it. And some of the strongest reasoning behind it is that they'll become self-sufficient. They can work on their own without so much intervention on your behalf and your support and your help teams. So the business metrics behind offering customer education really come down to increased revenues, because as you have your customers learning more about your products, they're more likely to purchase. Well, they'll purchase more often. They're more likely to purchase larger amounts of your product. They're more likely to recommend your products and services to their people that they work with, and you'll retain them for longer periods of time. So their long-term value ends up increasing. You'll see that educated customers will also decrease the help and support requests that are coming in. So there's a cost savings aspect there to your organization. You'll see increased business performance in terms of new product rollouts, in terms of onboarding. If you're looking at geographic expansion, you have avenues for people to come in and learn about your products and services and get up to speed faster. And ultimately, I really like the last one, is customer satisfaction, because I like to think about how we can get customers to really find that emotional connection to your organization and know that you're there and you support their efforts in learning about your products and services, and really build that advocacy and those ambassadors to your organization. And so we started to look at learner engagement in three different avenues there. And the first one being on the intellectual side. And this is where the instructional design and the content creators come into play, and really make sure that they are offering obviously visually appealing and engaging content, and really making sure that they're adding value to the customer. And that's a critical part obviously on the design aspect of things. And then where I think we come in on the work that we do with clients a bit more is in terms of the behavioral approach for the customer. So how can we really reward the behaviors that lead to learning, and how can we keep them coming back into our into our learning management system and learn more about, say, new products and additional courses that we're offering. And then, as I've already mentioned a little bit, is really how can we connect on an emotional level through a learning program to our customers and really build those a community of loyal learners. And so I got interested originally in gamification, which then I didn't really like that term and I didn't really like all the mechanics behind it. And so as the more I dug into it, I got really interested in what I call motivational design. And the definition that I like the best for that is where we look to reduce the friction in bridging the intention behavior gap. And keeping in mind, again, these customers, there's no requirement for them to come in to do the learning. And so I keep thinking of how can we reduce that friction for them to get in and come in on a repeated basis and really dive into the content that we're offering. And so this concept of motivational design is not new by any means. This picture here on the slide is actually a picture of my kids in the gym that I go to. And you can see they're riding some exercise bikes that are fitted with some screens there. And this is as I took this picture because I was thinking, oh, what a beautiful example of motivational design, where you have an exercise bike that's a typical exercise bike can be, and some people's views might be a bit boring to ride. And so they've fitted these machines with these screens that have an avatar on it. And as you pedal the bike, this avatar will start to bike down this course, and you can race other avatars. You can actually race the person on the bike sitting next to you. And it adds this really engaging piece onto the exercise bike itself. And so when I took this picture, I was like, oh, this is just like an LMS with our platform on the top there. We're adding this layer of really an engaging piece to an existing structure. And so I could go on about all the analogies about the benefits of getting onto an exercise bike in terms of your exercise and comparing that to going into the LMS and improving your learning. But I really started to think about, in my view anyway, the approach to online learning. We really need to start adding these motivational design features because for the most part, it's absent. And in all other products and services that we use, there's elements in there. So if you look like today, the Peloton, which is an incredibly successful example of an exercise bike that has added motivational design. You have an instructor who gives you shout outs, shouts out milestones. You have a leaderboard, you have high fives. So you've taken a typical workout on an exercise bike and you've added in all of these layers of motivational design to make people find it an appealing thing to do and have them coming back. So that premise, I think, is a really important one when we look at bringing customers into our education program. Is how do we design our systems with that to really retain them and connect with them? And so what we've done is we've built a plugin and a platform that connects into the learning management system, and we've introduced a virtual currency to the learning environment. And that currency, I call it coins, but it can be points, it can be tokens or credits. There's a number of different names for it. But the premise of it is it's earned based on competency, or I should say criteria-based competency. And so on the LMS, so on Moodle, for example, we listen to completion events. So when the customer has completed an activity or completed a course as set by the criteria on the Moodle site, they will earn a set number of coins, and you can adjust the amount of that according to the activity and to the course. And the reason I really like the concept of a virtual currency being earned is this concept of micro feedback. And so in the education environment, feedback is critical to show progress and to demonstrate there's obviously a level of achievement that's been reached. But I really like the fact that it's instantaneous. So it's as small as the learning, I would say, step is that they can see that feedback instantly. They're not waiting for an instructor to provide that feedback for them. It's coming immediately. And as you can see in the screen in the middle there, these coins accumulate in what we call the learner's wallet. And those coins can then be spent in the store that's offered by the organization. And that's where the creativity lies, because in the store, you can offer any real item, physical item, or an opportunity to enhance learning further or to develop the person even, say, to give them an additional opportunity to develop further in their learning or training. And so you can put anything in there, and that's all managed on a dashboard that we have access to that's connected directly to the Moodle site. We can have people in there to help us manage that as well. And the part I really like the most about it, that feature, is the multi-tenancy, where we've added the ability to have multiple different stores presented to multiple different groups of users on the Moodle site. So you can have customers that are in specific stores offering certain items, so you can split people up based on maybe divisions, or say based on geography, and we can get really personalized and tailor those items and opportunities specifically to those learners. And this really drives what I call the engagement loop, where we have the Moodle site. The learning content is where we have learners going and gaining coins and really enhancing that intellectual engagement they have with the organization. And then right next to it, we've placed the store, which is that emotional connection to the organization. So we want to drain those coins away from people as much as possible to keep them coming back into the learning environment. And so we really have, I thought about the process that we've really come up with. So we've introduced this platform, but it's the framework and how we use the platform that really drives the success of everything. And so we have in that customer education process, when we start with a client who's say maybe doesn't have a program, we start with first point right here, which is attracting learners. And I always say, I want to get eyeballs on your content. So how do we get people to come into your learning environment? We need to attract them. So there's really elements of marketing that are involved in that piece. And we've added some technology to help support that. And then point number two is, I've kind of mentioned it on earning the coins, the virtual currency there, is we want to attach the behaviors that lead to learning. We want to attach coin values to that to incentivize people to keep progressing through our content and come into our platform on a regular basis. I mentioned the concept of the store. So we want to have dynamic incentives. So we want to add items and opportunities that A, are tailored to the people's interests, and B, can be very helpful for them personally or on the job. And then I mentioned, really, I think this superhero marketing, as I call it, I kind of am pounding my fist on the table lately, saying to the learning departments, I say, go and knock on the doors of your marketing teammates and say, come on over into our world here, because you're going to open up a massive new marketing channel. And maybe some of you have experienced this. They typically have bigger budgets. And so if you can bring them into your world, I think that it's just a win-win for everyone. So the last little bit, I'll go through the steps here before we get into the platform here. And this is one of the plugin add-ons that we've built. I call it the Welcome Coins add-on. And so what it is attracting people to your program is the very first time they come into the LMS and they sign in, they get a little pop-up window here that says, hey, welcome to our, the program, and we appreciate you attending. Whatever the message is that you put in there, and you can attach a coin value to that. And so that kind of achieves three things there. Then the first, it provides a marketing opportunity. So you can see on the right-hand side there, one of our clients really advertises their customer education program with this, like, hey, come on and learn about our products and services, and we'll give you 50 tokens towards some swag. So it's the marketing tool. Number two, it's a feel-good message. Obviously, when you first arrive, you're getting shown like, hey, this is awesome. People appreciate that we're coming to spend our time here. And lastly, there's an inherent understanding that you've earned some currency, and so you should be able to spend that on something. The next part is we've connected the Moodle site to our platform, our dashboard, where we can start to customize those coin values accordingly. So you can set a global setting for the number of coins that are earned, and then you can get really granular and you can start to pick specific courses and specific activities, but all based on the competency-based criteria that you've set on the Moodle site. So whether it's a grade to pass or it's a specific date that needs to be completed by, hopefully you're familiar a bit with the custom criteria, the restrict access features that you can start leveraging, or I should say activity completion criteria that you can start setting on the Moodle site to customize. So our platform is really a listening device. It just listens, like, did the student meet this criteria? And if yes, then we send those coins to their wallet. We have another system we had built. One client wanted these coins built, or I should say, awarded based on grade-based criteria, so we can set grade ranges that need to be achieved in order for set coin values to come across. And then we can use both of them together, so you can get really creative on the economy, as I call it, and how coins are being earned for our customers. And then probably the most exciting part of our platform, because you can build some tools and then you just have no idea how people are going to use them. And so what we've done is we've created an open API, which allows organizations to really connect the coin earning from not just the learning management system, but from any other system that they want to add coin values for incentivizing any type of motivational design behavior that you want. And so first of all, you can award coins manually to users or in bulk on our platform for any reason you want. So if it's in the learning environment, you could just manually do that. But then you can also come up with your own custom rules. And so there's some really cool projects that we're working on with that. Like, for example, we have one client who's using a marketing tool. They're wanting to get survey replies in, which has been poor return rates from their customers. So they're adding coins onto just getting people to submit surveys. We have another client that has a help center rating, the stars that you get with when you get to respond to how well the service was provided. And so they're looking at attaching coin values to the number of star ratings that their customers are getting. And then we have another client who's doing something really interesting. They're doing customer education in the learning management system, and then trying to educate their customers about the products that they offer. There's an e-commerce store that those same customers are connected to, where they actually purchase their products with real dollars. And so they're looking at adding coins to when people make purchases in real dollars. So it's kind of like a loyalty program that they're tying together into learning. So the API really is, I think, is the exciting part, that you can really get creative on other systems that you want to add in. The dynamic incentives, which I'll show you a little bit more, and we'll go live into the LMS side of things. But this is where that store is that I mentioned, and it's unique to each cohort of users on the Moodle site. And so you can really customize the items and opportunities that you're offering. And this is where the coins are coming into the user's wallet, and this is where they go and get to spend them on the offerings that you're providing. And then you might have already been thinking, like, okay, I've got these customers all over the place. Like, how on earth would they get this stuff? And so we have a number of different redemption options. And so on the customer education side of things, the two that are used the most, we have a digital download option. So you can offer digital items or opportunities. So it could be anything from a PDF file to a voucher to MP3 or an ebook, and voucher codes, for example. And then we also have a shipping integration where we can send the contact information for people either to internal distribution systems. So we have some clients that already have systems where they're sending out goods, and they can just or physical items, and they can put these items on to those existing distribution networks and send them out to their customers. And then we also have some clients that connect with third-party fulfillment providers who handle the shipping for them. So that's one way that they're I should say, we have a couple different ways that we can get those items, physical items, to your customers' hands. And then each cohort, we can actually connect to any different shipping system. So we have some clients that have an international exposure. And so we have a fulfillment provider in North America that we're sending items to. And we have fulfillment providers in Europe that we just send that information to there, and they handle the shipping. So we can really get a kind of a global distribution of those products. And then I think the last and probably the most powerful part of our program is what I think is superhero marketing. Because if you think about marketing in general these days, it's really this direct marketing where you're trying to it's educational based marketing. You're trying to add value to your customers. And I cannot think of a better way to do that than through the LMS, because you can have a wide variety of different learning opportunities in terms of the different activity types that you can offer in a platform like Moodle. But you can also track it, and then you can also connect it to your CRM, and you can then start to measure the effects of a customer who has taken your training versus someone who is not taking your training. And you can really, I'd say, quite easily identify from the data what's happening from those two segments of your customers. But the whole marketing piece, like if you think about most marketing strategies, it's about like you're checking click rates or open rates on emails and blogs and things like that. But you're just basically you don't really know what they've done with that information. And I think the LMS is such a powerful way to really enhance the data that you're collecting and then measure it. And so I mentioned that one of the tools we have is in terms of the marketing, that welcome coins there. We really look at attracting the customers. But the other big part is that the feedback we're getting is that we really want to build these brand advocates and these brand ambassadors, where they're going to look at your company because they're educated about your products. They're really looking to you as the I would say the most reliable and I would say trustworthy person or company that they might work with, because they've taken your training. And so the feedback we're getting is that we're just offering a really powerful marketing tool. So that's really kind of the premise of our platform. I was going to dive into our to show the platform, just a quick look what it looks like in the LearnBook site, but I have talked far too long already. So Danny, I was wondering, is there anyone who has any questions that I could answer at this point in time here? Oh, Danny, you're muted there. Sorry, I couldn't.
Sorry. Some of the questions that have come through are, does this work with any other type of LMS other than Moodle? So that's one of the ones that's come through from our audience today.
Oh, I see. Yeah, I can see it now there. Right now, we have natively built plugins that connect directly to Moodle. But we do, as I mentioned, we have that open API. And so we have connected it to another LMS platform right now. And then like I said, technically, we've got people that are connecting it to any other system. So the answer is yes, it does. It just requires some connections to the API.
Great. And then we have another question, which is what kinds of rewards other than the coins can be used in the optimizer? And I guess I have a little bit of personal experience with that in our eCreators Academy, where we've updated our, I guess, token of choice, or what is being collected from a coin, to Eddie, which is a little mascot that we came up with. So when you complete things, instead of getting coins, you actually collect Eddies.
Yeah, exactly. We have a number of clients that have come up with their own virtual currency. And so tokens is a pretty common one. We have credits. We have like the Eddies. I've seen a number of clients that have like their own. I don't even know what they are. Like Eddies, it means something, obviously, to the customers or to the organization itself. So yeah, the visual representation that I showed on that screen is like a coin image, and we call it coins, but that's just a placeholder. You can replace it with anything. Yeah. Yeah, the concept is that they're accumulating, we call it a virtual currency, and then they can trade that and redeem it for other things.
That's really great.
Great. Well, how about I hop into, I think I'm still sharing my screen here. How about I hop in and just show a little bit about what it looks like on the Open LMS work site here. I'm assuming you can still see my screen here. Yeah, it looks like you should be able to. Okay, so yeah, so this is what it looks like in the Open LMS work. I should say the demo site that I'm running off of, and you can see the course tiles that are over here on the left here, and our platform just sits over on the right as a regular block, so you can insert this on the dashboard or into the courses wherever you like. And coming in, you can see the store. the list of items when the users clicked on their wallet, and they can see all the different types of opportunities or items that are being offered. And we've used a number of motivational design strategies on the store itself, and you can see a couple of them, which is a time constraint here. So you can have items that are listed only for a certain a number of days or a number of hours for that matter. And we put some time pressure on the learner to come into the LMS. We can also limit the number of items that are available. So we call that scarcity. So as people make their purchases, you can see that number decreases. And then, of course, we wanted to add some other elements of uncertainty to this. So there's actually 3 ways you can post items into our store. You can place items for sale, just like in a regular store. So we call that a purchase type, where you can, if you have enough coins, you can just simply make that purchase. But you can also put up items in raffle draws and auctions to really drive the engagement, because games of uncertainty, as we call them, really are appealing to a lot of people. And so the one at the bottom here you can see is the raffle draw here. And the way it works is that you price these items as the price is actually the amount it costs to enter the draw. So if I make a purchase here, it will just add an entry into the draw. And then we thought it would be really fun is to introduce we can display the percent chance that you have at winning that item. And it's a dynamic system. So as more people are making that purchase, your odds or your probability is going to go down. So the concept is if you really want that item, then you should be making more purchases and spending more coins. And the other one we have, as I mentioned, is auctions. And so you can see kind of neat here where if you want to place a bid, you can see you can control the starting bid, but you can also control the increment and how much it goes up by. And then being from Canada, we're really good at taxing things. And so as a designer, I want to drain coins from as many people as I could, not just the winner of the auction. And so you can set the amount that comes off of each bid that's made. So the idea being like you have to pay to play. So we do give you your amount back if you get outbid, but we do take a little bit of a fee there. So that's the dynamic nature of the store itself. And then we've added, as I mentioned, the entire redemption process onto that. So, for example, let's just go in and look what it looks like to buy a disco jacket here, and you can see what we can do is we can also offer branding onto the store itself. And it's branded in the LMS, but onto the redemption process there, you can see, for example, if eCreators was the company that's using this system here, our system, you can see their logo. And then what happens is we can collect all the information from the person. And then when they hit send request, what ends up happening is we generate a CSV file, which then gets sent to you can send it anywhere, really. You can send it to your internal distribution system, or you can send it to a third-party fulfillment provider, whatever handles the shipping aspect of it. So we have that whole redemption piece that's tied in, as well as a notification system. We've tapped into the Moodle notification, so it'll notify the customer what's happening on the redemptions, and in terms of tracking everything as well. And so the last few things I just want to show is we do have a leaderboard as well. So if you go into here, you can see where you are. We call it competitive leaderboard. So you have the learner customer versus customer, for example, in each of their cohorts. And then we also have a cohort versus cohort leaderboard. So if you have like different divisions within your company, you can have, or different divisions within your customer segmentation, I should say, you can have like team learning or team earning of coins versus, there's something with our theme issue here, and I'm not sure why this is so smushed here. So, but they usually you can see the names of the teams as well as the token value. And then last, we also display recent activities. So the customer can always go in and see why they've earned coins and for what specific reasons. So they can see which course or which activity they've earned coins for. So that, by the way, is all managed by the like everything is managed by the dashboard, which I won't get into today, but it does show, it does allow the managers to go in and easily go from the LMS to manage the whole platform just from the block here as well. So let me dive into our I just want to talk a little bit about our case studies. I'm just conscious of the time here, and I want to make sure we finish with enough time here. Just to give you some perspective on some of the projects we're working on. This is an e-creators client, actually, that's using the OpenLMS worksite. And Shepherd Cycle is the largest bike manufacturer in Australasia. And their customer education program is really targeting to the employees in the bike shops that they send their bikes to, and all of their channel products for that matter. And I'm an avid mountain biker, so this is like my passion project, this one here. I really like this project because I actually own some of the channel products that they are actually are selling. And in the training, the concept is that these bike shops have multiple different bike companies that have their bikes and their products offered in those shops. And so the strategy is if we can train the employees at these shops, so the sales reps, and we train the mechanics on our products and our services, then they're more likely to be able, or they're better able to recommend them in the sales process to the consumer that's coming into the shop. And the other part is they have an existing distribution system set up to these stores. So adding those items from our store onto those is, I'm going to say, a fairly simple thing to do. But the other cool part is it actually puts the products into, some of those products are going into the hands of the people at the stores, so they can actually speak to them even more. And not only I've learned about this product, but I actually have this product. So I really like that strategy that we're using on that one. Another really big project that we're working on is the Glovo project. I don't think they're in Australia, but they're like the Uber Eats of everywhere else. And so they're really big in South America and in Africa and in parts of Europe. And it's a food delivery service. And so their customer education program, so by the way, it's a mobile app that will basically, you can call someone to deliver your food or deliver other items through a mobile app service. And that's all kind of a lot of it's managed through call centers. And so they're in over 15 countries right now. So they have like 15 different Motrain kind of instances that they're using. And their target is the customer, the call centers, which help support all of the delivery people. And so they're offering the training on the app and the whole their processes on the app and connecting with and the call centers to the delivery people. And they're adding the Motrain reward system to the call centers because these people are not employees and they want them to learn about their technology really quickly. And as it's updating, there's always updates on that one. So that's the way that they're running the Motrain experience. And then our most, I would say, our longest standing customer is the Watts program, and so they have a massive internal audience, but they also have a really big external audience there, the customer education program that we're working with. And so they've introduced this concept of earning tokens in their Learn and Earn program. And what they offer is a whole bunch of branded lifestyle products. And so what we really get excited about is when they put in products that are supporting the work environment of their customers. And so Watts is a global water technology company. And so a lot of their job sites are unfinished. They're not heated and there's no place to sit. And so, for example, you can see the bottom left-hand corner, there's a little camp chair there. And so having a camp chair that is being offered in our Motrain store for them to earn from the training is a nice way then to have somewhere to sit during their break. And so it's really cool. I think it adds just that extra amount of or that extra value to the customer from completing that training. But they're really taking it up a notch too. And each of their shipments they're sending to the customers, they're putting in this little thank you card which says, "Hey, we hope thank you for doing our training. Hope you appreciate the product. If you like it, please take a picture and send a quote in to us, and we'll add 300 tokens additionally to your balance." And what they're getting is like all these awesome pictures and these quotes coming in. Like I have like this, it's just this massive amount, and it's this feel good story that their marketing team is picking up on, and then they're pushing that back out onto their marketing to draw more people into their program. So they've really leveraged that, not just the automation tool in terms of the tokens being collected on the LMS, but they're also using some of the really harvesting those marketing angles. And their program has been incredibly successful. So they had a customer education program for 10 months without Motrain. And during that time, they signed up 374 customers who completed 2,000 courses. And then they switched Motrain on. And in the next 10 months, they had over 6,000 customers sign up who completed over 72,000 courses. So that was a massive explosion in their customer registrations, but also the completions. And since that time, we have expanded their program to multiple countries in Europe. And then at the end of this month, we are opening in China. So they are really growing that part of their program. So it's really an exciting one to be a part of. So I hope I've given a little bit of flavor in 3 different case studies. I wanted to leave the last little bit here just for some resources. If you're not offering customer education and you're wondering like, hey, where should I go to learn more about this? Highly recommend. There's a book by Adam Avermisu. It's a bit focused on the software side of things, but there's tons of good information in there about like really from start to finish about a successful program. So highly recommend that book. He's working with a couple other people that are really into customer education. So they have a website called CED Laboratories. So there's the URL there. They also run a fantastic podcast. So if you're into listening about, they have a couple guys that talk about and they bring guests on and they have tons of good topics there. Great website, Talented Learning. A guy named John Lay runs that. He's got, he brings on people to talk about customer education, but also has a ton of free resources in there. If you're into the software space, I recommend the TSIA as well. They've got, again, a wealth of information there. And one of my favorite places to hang out these days is the Customer Education Org Slack channel, where they've got lots of people, and like, it's just awesome. It's growing everywhere, and the people sharing tools and resources and strategies. And so check out if you can get if you can find that Slack channel, or just get in touch with me. I'll invite you over there. There's tons of great people in there. I really enjoy spending time there as well. So that's really it. I wanted to just end off with just some next steps. Like if you're wondering, hey, like what else can I do besides those resources? We also offer a customer education optimizer. It's the whole framework that we use with our customer education programs, including the marketing strategy. So the motivational design and the marketing strategies baked in. I also put in a checklist and a framework that helps you get started. Through our relationship with eCreators, we also have free trials with Motrain if you're interested in trying it. If you already have a program there and you're interested in starting that up, Danny is an expert on helping get connected there. And yeah, I think they've got a few other things I want to share just at the end here, and I'll hop off and hopefully we have time for some questions here.
Great. Thanks so much for sharing that with us, Jeff. It's fantastic to see how Motrain's driving engagement across lots of different organizations in different industries. So I want to move on to a little bit of a competition. We're giving away the opportunity to win a free consultation session with Jeff. And the way to enter is to contact us to get a free trial of Motrain on your LMS. And of all the people that contact us to get a free trial, Jeff will be choosing the winner. So it's worth $250, and it's definitely something you don't want to miss out on. So if you'd like to be part of that competition, let us know, and we'll get you set up with a trial. Cool. I think
awesome.
We'll move on to some questions. I know that a few of them have come through while you were sharing your presentation with us, Jeff. So Sue G asks, are internal purchases as motivating as external rewards?
Sorry, I found the chat in there. I'm just going, I saw that there is internal. Sorry. Oh, there we are. Are internal purchases as motivating as external rewards? There we are. Internal purchases. I'm not entirely sure what that means. What I think maybe what they're getting at is what Sue's getting at is the coins themselves, their virtual currency that's coming across. There's no I would say dollar value attached to that, and you're not using those in an e-commerce way there. You're just trading those in for items and opportunities that are offered by the organization. But the feedback we're getting is that just earning that virtual currency is a highly motivating thing. Like we've even heard feedback from customers through the clients that they don't even care about the actual getting the reward. They just like like collecting, accumulating those virtual currencies. So I think it varies a little bit on what people do with those. Like some people are really interested on the leaderboards. Like I just want to be at the top of that. So collecting those is important to them. Some of them, for those external rewards, I think it depends on what's being offered, and that's where, like, is it an actual thing, or is it an opportunity? Is it a donation? Like, what is it that's connected? So I think it comes down to the learner persona and what is it that they find the most motivating in that.
Great. We have another question from Distance EdTech. Would you say microlearning is a good strategy to tie in with this?
Yeah, absolutely. And that's some of our the Watts project, for example, most of their courses are really short. Like some of them you can do in, I would say, in 10 minutes. So yeah, for sure. I think micro learning was created, I think, on the same premise of why motivational design works. Like we only have you have a short amount of time that you can keep your customers' attention and their focus, and the amount of time that they're willing to come into your environment. So I would say absolutely yes, microlearning is the strategy that you would want to use for customer education. Like just get them in there for short amounts of time. And then again, that micro feedback ties nicely into that strategy as well. So short time commitment, kind of short and very quick feedback on that in terms of the progression. And yeah, you're right.
Next question is from Smith Henry. Do you find your clients have high claim rewards?
Yeah, that's a good question. We have a spectrum there, and so there is some clients that have like huge budgets, and that's why I said like the marketing teams that get involved there, they can really back that and have I would say high frequency of redemptions and high value redemptions. There's some interesting tax situations there. So far, I think it's mainly been in North America, but like the actual dollar value of some of these items, they have to be under a minimum amount to avoid some tax repercussions. But the cool part about the platform is that you can offer things that have, I'm going to say, like no value to them. So like in my background in education being, so the idea of the store is that a student could trade coins for just like maybe an extension on an assignment submission, or they could have a premium parking spot, so things that didn't cost any money, so to speak, and so just trading for opportunities. And so that's where the creativity lies. And so some of that, like Danny mentioned, the consulting session, some of that's what we kind of explore as we look at what is the organization, what is it that they're capable of offering, and we start to bounce ideas around of things that they can offer that either they fit depending on the budget. Maybe it's lots of physical items and expensive stuff, and then we go all the way down to no cost or low cost items as well. Because he's very good at taxes too. Yeah, Sue, I can see that. Yeah, so you'd really like the auction feature there. You can really start to tax people on that.
Great. Well,
sorry, I saw someone that's like a personal day off. Does need sort of some purchase order, and the answer is yes. Like that's all good stuff to put in there. So we actually recommend like half days off, or a personal day off, or an opportunity to work in another department. On the redemption mechanisms, we also have approvals. So if you needed to be involved in an approval of something, you can also get involved in the messaging system. So there's another opportunity that you could connect with, like either HR or another division of your company if you needed to have people sign off on things. Yeah.
Great. Well, I don't think we have any other questions. So I want to say thank you so much to you, Jeff, for joining us today. I know it's getting late in your day over where you are. And thanks everyone for joining us. We hope to see you for the next webinar.
Yeah, thank you very much for the questions, both Smith Henry and Sue. Really appreciate it, and thanks everybody else for coming. I hope to hear from you and hope to help support any customer education programs that you're running with eCreators or potentially going to run with eCreators. So yeah, thanks very much for the time.